You are listening to the Malliard Report, a live radio show that ventures into the mysteries of life, as well as the hot topics of the day, either political or business.
Good evening, everybody. It's May 4th. May the 4th be with you. All the Star Wars puns and stuff that goes with that, right? So we can get that out of the way. Cat Ward wanted to ask who the guest was tonight, and there isn't a guest tonight. It's the first Tuesday of the month that I had been traditionally doing those as live calls, and then I decided last month to bump it to the second hour of live calls, guest first hour, and now I'm back doing the live calls in the first hour out of a simple matter of convenience for me. I'll tell you this right now. We're going to be brutally honest in the next 5 minutes or so here. I don't feel good tonight. For those of you watching on video, you can probably see it in my eyes. I've been battling this eye infection for over a week now. It's sinus related. Probably could have seen it last week for those of you who are watching. But it is brutal right now. Even the lights from the screens that are on took some adjusting to get used to, and I'm just now getting comfortable with them after sitting here for about half an hour from them being too bright. So it is legitimately bad right now. Okay? I just don't feel good. I don't feel right. I'm just being honest with you. But I had to show up tonight. Why? Because the calendar finally turned to May. And May brings the anniversary of the show. And I looked at the next few weeks, and then I looked at June, and I've already scheduled a couple of guests for June. One goes credit to Germantown Renner as well. And I didn't leave myself the grace to talk about what 10 years meant to me. And I know I said I did that on the 500th show, and I wasn't going to do any more of it. But having this day, right, today, when I realized that I fudged up the guest scheduling, and then I just wasn't in a place to go find somebody else mentally. I just wasn't. So I thought a lot about the show, right? And the first thought was, well, just cancel, because you don't want to make yourself look like an idiot. Because that is what tonight is probably going to turn into. Right? It's uncomfortable. There's no net. I mean, obviously we're going to be doing live calls here in a few minutes. But there's no net. There's no comfort. None of that. Right? So there's that. So it would have just been way too easy to say, hey guys, I'm sick. It's not right tonight. Right? And you all would have understood and said, feel better and do it. We'll see you next week. But for those of you who have been around for 10 years, know that this show goes. It continues to go. It pushes forward and it moves. And so tonight, I wanted to take that opportunity to express my thoughts, my feelings amidst this trying time. It's trying, right? Because, well, the 10-year anniversary of the show's here. And what does that mean, right? Okay, it means I've done the show for 10 years. But what does that mean? Okay? Why 10 years? Why do I keep doing it? Why do I keep showing up? Why did I answer the bell tonight? Right? That's the question. And the only reason I could foresee and push forward is because it is all about me, right? The name's on the door, name's on the sign, name's on the website, name is everywhere, right? But it's never been about me. And tonight, unfortunately, you're hearing a lot about me, right? And that isn't the intention, because the show is for you, the show is for the guests. But without the continued success that it's had for the years overall, right? Because That's the other frustration I've had lately. And of course, I can blame it on any other. I've been trying to blame it on a lot of things lately, right? Not feeling well, the pandemic, and I just keep listing these reasons off. And then I also know that I have not been right myself. So there's always that. But in the back of my mind, in the very back of my mind, I know I could be doing better. So I don't want to disappoint people. I don't want to disappoint myself either. Because I know if I woke up tomorrow and didn't do a show tonight, I would be miserable. Because I missed an opportunity. So that's why we're here. Because I don't want to miss that opportunity. There's a lot going on personally, behind the scenes, that I just will not talk about. Because anybody who knows the show knows there's a lot of layers, a lot of things that you guys just don't know and just don't get the opportunity to see. On top of not feeling good. So it is the perfect storm tonight. So like I said, I didn't have the energy or the mental stamina to just go out and find a guest and put that on myself as well. So what we're doing, live calls will already be back the second hour next month, because I've already got a guest scheduled for the first week. So that's what that is. But tonight, they're the first hour. They're the show again. And there is nothing wrong with that, because I honestly know we're already 7 minutes into this show, right? And I know at some point here, in the next 10, 15 minutes, somebody's going to call in. We're going to talk about any number of things that else I have on my desk. But I just wanted to take a few minutes here and lay it all on the table. But, well, not all on the table, because obviously, like I said, there's some things I'm just not going to talk about. But show-wise, all on the table, right? 10 years. I never fought the show the last 6 months. So to get to this milestone is like getting to any of the other milestones that I talk about around here. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it never will. Why I've been to some of the places and talked to some of the people I've got the opportunity to talk to, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm grateful for every one of them, because I've realized, I've had this epiphany through the course of this show. While you don't understand all that's going on, you see the back end. You see the front end. You see what I get the opportunity to talk about indirectly. You understand there's been different chapters of my life that I've shared through the show, and you guys haven't realized it, right? The paranormal chapter, the deep dive into politics, in history, and all that stuff that went with that. This coming back around, picking up some paranormal stuff, right? As we transition back around a little bit. As we swing around and come back a little off that heavy politics stuff and back into the middle. As the pendulum bounces back and forth. You've all been part of that journey. And there's a tweet this evening that I tweeted. Somebody says, podcast advice in 4 words or something like that. I don't remember the exact tweet. And I sent back, don't try to make everybody happy. Of course, that's more than 4 words. And I resonated with that, because I can't make everybody happy. I know I can't. I tried for a while, right? And it didn't work. And then I tried to make myself happy, and that worked for a while, but eventually I got to the point where I needed to push myself and not make myself happy even. I needed to learn. I needed to understand a little bit more. And maybe I got too far, right? And maybe that's why I'm reeling back a little bit and observing more and learning more from other sides of things. It's about the journey. It's not about the destination. Because if you asked me where the destination was tonight, I couldn't even tell you. I have no idea where the destination is. So maybe out there, maybe Germantown Runner, Brian Bowden, or somebody out there can help me establish that destination of what is success. What is the next 10 years old? I've often joked I need 10 years to be an overnight success, and now we're at 10 years, and the success isn't the issue, right? Because the show has been wildly successful year in and year out, and done things that I have no business doing. So where is the destination? I don't know. Okay, so open lines. Whatever you want to talk about. Enough talking about me. Enough talking about the show. I just thank you all for giving me that time here to I don't want to say unload, because that's definitely what that wasn't. But it was. There's just, like I said, there's been a lot laying on the mind as I've looked at the ups and downs of the show, and the ups and downs of producing the show, and the ups and downs of the live show, right? It's an ebbs and flows and all that stuff. And then just being hemmed into a place tonight where I just didn't feel it. But it's here. And like I said, I could guarantee if I didn't do a show tonight, I'd miss it tomorrow. And I would be mad at myself for not doing it. So here we are. 234-738-2552. Standard still rate applies for all you folks out there. You know that. A few things on the list that I picked up this afternoon as I was looking, of course. Obviously, I seen that Trump released this kind of new social media platform today, and then I realized it was just the blog, which kind of confuses me. Because if he was just doing a blog, why did it take so long to develop? Because anybody out there who knows me knows I have this problem, very big problem, of buying websites, buying domains, trying to do stuff, trying to make things happen. A blog isn't that hard. It's not. I mean, Germantown Runner could do one tonight. And he's not the most tech-savvy guy in the world. I can promise you. He could do it tonight. Okay. So enough about that. I don't want to get too far in that. But I do want to call it Germantown Runner on this one. I know he's listening. And I know he was saying that Tom Wilson's going to be the captain. And I have a slight problem. It's not with him. It's with the NHL. So if Germantown Runner wants to call and get into that, I'm sure he does. Or maybe he doesn't. That was just a mess. And the other one that I want to get into... Here we go. Welcome to the Malliard Report. How are you doing this evening?
Hey-o, I'm doing pretty good, Jimmy. How are you? Hi,
Well,
kids. Guess who's calling in?
I think you know how I am. You kind of asked earlier. You probably already knew how I was doing before you asked, because you hadn't heard anything all day. So.
No, I'm in the same boat as you at this point for many reasons, but I got a great subject, and I think Germantown Runner is going to love it, and I think you might like it too. So my question for you is, or for everybody to discuss amongst yourselves, do you think that the results of the Arizona Inquisition into election fraud will yield either the removal of the current president or an all-new election for the American public to vote on?
Sadly, I don't. I don't think it'll change anything.
Okay. What happens if that spurs all the investigations into the other states that were complaining, and the evidence comes forward to prove that there was election fraud and things weren't above board?
So, okay, let's follow this through, though. Okay, so
Sure.
They're doing it currently, right? So
Yes,
I don't
they
know what
are.
I don't know their timeline of finishing it. Do you know that information?
I do not know their timeline of finishing it, but I know somebody who has 3 letters. Oop.
You there?
Oh.
You're there, maybe.
Yeah, I'm there, but for some reason I'm hearing the actual show while I'm talking to you.
Oh, that's weird.
So,
Probably because you got your plug
that's kind of
in the
odd.
background.
I thought I was becoming civil. So that was a little bit strange, but I do think they're going to be very successful at this. If it wasn't going to be successful, then the whole bunch of Democrats wouldn't be sending people to Arizona, more, like in warships to kind of get this under wraps. So I think we're going to have a problem where they're going to say, hey, this wasn't a fair election. There was definitely something wrong here that warrants either a recount or, you know, a new election.
So back to the timeline though. This is where it becomes fun for me because, let's just say they get it done by July 4th and all their findings and everything comes to a head, right? Because it's going to take time to get through there, and then there's going to be a bureaucracy process for that, right? So safely, let's say July 4th for them, right, in Arizona. Which
that would be a great Independence Day, wouldn't it?
So, but then...
Go ahead, continue.
But then you've got to get a new election proposed in Arizona and happening, and through their House and all this other stuff. And then you've got to get the other states involved. Right. And every level we've got bureaucratic process here, right? Hearings and state houses, and you see where I'm headed, right?
I see where you're headed. If they're successful in Arizona, then by law, not only do the other states have to do it, but the Supreme Court by law has to pick that up. And once it goes to the Supreme Court, whether Justice Roberts likes it or not, we're going to have a bigger issue here. You know, so it's very interesting, you know, what's taking place. And I think that if they do discover there was some tomfoolery, or as I like to say, Biden-foolery, then it just says that anybody that certified this election on technical terms has committed treason, because they should have been doing this investigation pre-certification. And if the case is where the opponent is the actual winner, then someone's going to have to leave, you know, that big White House in the District of Columbia. Or what will happen most likely is a new vote where no mail-in ballots, in person, and people have to bring like valid state ID to cast their vote. And then we'll see what happens at that point. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, but that poses problems, I mean, because you're changing the rules midstream, and I mean, it's all going to get every one of those details is going to get a court hearing. Right?
But it's not changing the rules in midstream. It's something that should have been done previously. And there were enough people that came forward where you couldn't just ignore the fact that something was taking place, whether it was for one side or the other. And it needed to be addressed. And they did not, based on our Constitution alone, it needed to be addressed if there was that much outcry, no matter who the opponent is. So by failure to do that, you violated the Constitution and the actual process. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but that's where I am with this one.
So I'm gonna change the subject. Well, I want to say slightly, but it's more than that, because I'm interested in this one too, and it wasn't on my list, but it should have been. But of course, like I said, great fog today.
Right.
DC statehood, yes or no?
Not at all. It was not designed to be a state. It was designed just to be a meeting place for, you know, the concept was meeting place for all the representatives on equal grounds. No state, no ruling, not like that. That's why it left New York.
I don't think it was ever intended to be the big metro that it is either. I think that's where the problem comes.
Well, it's you know what? I mean, you know, I wasn't around way back then, Jim. So, but
you weren't. Well, I'm disappointed.
No, I can go back in my time machine and check that out. I don't want DC to be a state whatsoever, and not only that, Puerto Rico has said numerous times they don't want to be part of this. They're pretty good sitting where they are in that Commonwealth status, what is it called, like Commonwealth of the U.S. or a territory or something to that effect.
Yeah, must be a territory
After
because
they got
Commonwealth doesn't
Yeah.
work so well.
well, they got messed up pretty bad by the hurricane, and and nothing from mainland USA to help them with the hurricane, and so they really do not want to be part of this at all. So it's kind of odd, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah. So one last weird question for you again, Jade. We're clicking now. This is way off the radar, but it
Sure.
is. Cryptocurrencies. I mean, I know Dodge is out there. I know Bit's out there. I mean, right? So we're just talking about this at the big C level, the big crypto level, right?
Right.
Obviously, they're not going.
What's my take on it?
Yeah, they're not going away, right? The big C cryptocurrencies.
Oh, no. It's definitely not going away. But here's the problem. I had an opportunity. I knew about Bitcoin before it came out. I was like, wow, this sounds very interesting. I was at a point where I could have gotten 1 for 1. So if I gave him $500, I'd had 500 Bitcoin. Boy, was that a bad idea. I didn't do that. Jump on that. But it's always been very, and I'm going to use the term shady, because there's multiple variables here with any type of cryptocurrency or any type of digital currency. In the event of even a coronal mass ejection, or an EMP, or someone getting access to your power grid, China, and shutting down your grids, guess what? You lose all that money. You can't get it back.
But
Right? So
I could argue right now for bank accounts being online that we could have the same thing.
no, bank accounts, there's other banking regulations which even though things are online, it has to be on paper. I worked in banking for 20 years or so. It has to be on paper. That will never change. People think that cryptocurrency is the future. I say no. I say gold, silver, platinum, palladium, anything that's real precious metals, go buy it. Don't buy certificates. That has always been and always will be the future. There's plenty of people. The reason why any government wants to have cryptocurrency or an electronic currency is twofold. One, they know exactly how much you have. And two, that means they can get their cut. And two, they can electronically cut you off from your own funds if you don't go along with whatever they want.
I heard
And
something
I know
about.
it sounds very... Yeah.
I heard something about a digital dollar at one point, right? Where the U.S. was going to start offering their own digital dollar.
We just did something. I think Mr. Wonderful did something trying to back it to the Bitcoin or whatever it was, and it's a bad idea. It's a tremendously bad on multiple levels. I would never want to have any part of that. That's just me personally. I would not want to have an inkling of any type of, I have a couple of little bits and pieces of electronic type of currencies. I can't, I got in late and whatever, but nope. If you forget your password, you're done. If the power goes out and the computers get wiped, you're done. It's just not secure. It's imaginary. It's an illusion. And, a lot of times it's associated with illicit activity, drug dealers and what have you, or those people that hold like websites for ransom and they want it in crypto. They want Bitcoin or whatever.
Time out.
Yeah.
Time out. Elon Musk has been emailing me for days saying I have 60 Bitcoins for you, 70. I think it's up to 80 now. I'm pretty sure he's legit. I'm sure that's his real email address too.
You know what? I'm going to, if that's the case, you really have his address. I'm going to go ask my Nigerian cousin, and he'll give me a loan against the money for the estate that I just won, and we'll get something going.
Well, I looked at, because you know how it is. You see these spam bills, and right? But I opened it up, and it was a string of letters, and I'm like, that could be his son's name, actually. I'm not sure now. Like, I had a moment of conflict.
Here's there's Dogecoin, right? Which came up. It was a joke. It was an absolute joke. It's a parody upon parody of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And people started buying it, and now it's kind of taking off. But one of the things I studied when I did finance was there was this great class run by this Goldman Sachs guy, and it's called Booms, Busts, Scams, and Scandals of the Stock Market and Investing. And a long, long time ago, people used to go nuts, crazy over, like Bitcoin, tulip bulbs. And, I mean, tulip bulb prices were through the roof. And what happened was, one day, some guy, not knowing what it was, thought it was an apple, bit into it. And after that, everybody was like, oh, this is worthless crap. Right? So it's like everything else. Something will happen, or some bigwig like Mark Cuban will get burnt somehow, and everybody will start pulling back on it and getting rid of it, and they'll junk it. But again, if you're a $100 million guy, $1 trillion guy, $1 billion guy, you have money you could play with. You could buy $100 million worth of stuff and still not put a dent in anything you have and say, if it goes up, it's good, right? But for, mom and pop and that little pink house is America, I wouldn't go anywhere near it. I mean, you could play around with a little bit of stuff, but don't invest everything you got in it. But I will tell you I go to what is it, Ampex or APMEX or something like that, and you buy physical silver. It's pretty inexpensive. You pay a little bit of a premium because they have to handle it and get it and ship it to you and whatever. But you will be in such a better place if you bought little ounce bars, little ounce coins, and you do that a couple of times, and you will have real value, real money, 100% silver, and that's never, ever going to crash. I mean, I'm not Elon Musk, but that's my advice to everybody. And it's good. I think it's like $25 an ounce now.
So you're fully on board. I've created I've jokingly created a third party, right? You're fully on board. You're aware of this, right?
Am I really?
Well, you heard the show.
On board with?
Well, you've heard the show, right?
Yeah,
you're aware that I'm campaigning for a third party that I'm creating, but I'm adding a peg to the platform tonight. It just came to me as you were talking, and I'm just going to tell you, and you've got to be on board with this 100%. I don't care what put your personal opinions aside and lie to me. We've got to get rid of the penny.
No.
Yes.
You know what? This is what happens. You get rid of the penny, and the next thing is going to be the nickel. Then it's going to be the dime. Then it's going to be coins in general. And then they're going to say, no, you'll just have an electronic card. See, this is how it all starts. Never get rid of the penny. It's a numerous dream. People like to hold physical money. Kids, it's a great way to show them how to invest in things by holding, here, take some. I mean, it's not even worth a penny anymore, but and they.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You can't get anything for a candy anymore. That's the thing.
No, I know that, but it's still it gets kids interested in actual currency, accounting. I mean, there's a bunch of variables there. I'm not interested in getting rid of anything. Not a pack rat. Don't get me on hoarders just yet. Although my wife would say, yes, get them on hoarders. But you'll be surprised how much that penny will come into play. It may be nothing to you, but to the people that may be living on the street right now, if they find a couple of pennies that people throw away, they find 1,000 of them. It's a lot of money for them.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying that we could do better though.
Well, you want to make it into a different material? Get rid of the copper or something?
Maybe here's my problem. Maybe you're right. So meet me in the middle. How about retail outlets, right? Pennsylvania's tax is 6 cents. I don't know what it is. It's 7 in New York, right?
What tax?
Sales tax.
It depends where you are. It's almost 10% now.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Well, 10% works. See, that's the
idiot Apple.
That's the problem, right? 10% works. 6 doesn't.
Right.
Okay, so I buy something at the dollar store. It's $1.06 is my problem.
Yeah, I get it, but like someone came out with like 10-minute abs, but isn't 6-minute abs better than 10-minute abs?
Oh, I'm not arguing the tax rate. I'm just saying I want to go in and hand them $1. I don't want to be carrying all this damn change around because of the tax man. I'll carry the nickel or the dime, but I don't want to be carrying 2 change pieces for when I go to buy a bottle of pop for $1 to make that transaction easier.
I understand what you're saying, but when you do a transaction, right, it's not all like a couple of companies started playing around with that where they just round the pennies up to themselves, or they were taking the pennies. Actually, I know somebody was working on the conversion from the European individual foreign currencies into the euro. And he was well aware that there were individuals that were in the process while they were converting it over, swiping pennies, because no one pays attention to pennies. But guess what? When you get into trillions and zillions of pennies, it adds up pretty quick.
Well, it does.
So
that's what I'm saying.
I think you need that.
Yeah, well, they're gonna screw us either way.
Well, I mean, like, and I'll tell you what, I want to come out with the $2 and $3 bill now.
Well, the $2 bill is already out, and the $3 bill we've already printed in Franklin once.
You can't use that any place. There was a gentleman, I forgot where it was. I think it was McDonald's or something like that. He went into McDonald's. He paid with his $2 bill. He bought a whole sheet. He went to the mint and he got him, right?
Right.
Pays with a $2 bill, and the girl goes, "That's counterfeit," because she's never seen a $2 bill before. And so they called the police. He got arrested. The Secret Service was called then. Their elite squad for what do you call it?
Counterfeiting.
Bureau of Engravings.
Yeah.
And eventually he got out, but it's legal tender even though you don't see it. I've given people 50-cent pieces. He goes, "Don't give me a quarter." I'm like, "It's a 50-cent piece." They just can't wrap their mind around it.
You need to look it up. Years ago in Franklin, which is my hometown, somebody passed a $3 bill at our McDonald's.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It was on Letterman. I mean, it made the small town news that he used to do. So, I mean, somebody already beat you to that.
So what's going to happen if let's say we have a transaction where I'm selling you something for 51 cents. How are you going to pay for it? And how am I going to? And if you give me 60 cents, what kind of change am I going to give you? A nickel?
Give me the nickel, whatever.
Yeah, but that adds up on the other end. That's the whole point.
Well, but
it's not difficult. It's just.
Or they're going to start. They're going to start charging. They're going to start charging me 60 cents for it. Then. That's the thing. Somebody's going to go out there and charge me 60 cents for it, and somebody is going to charge me 50 cents for it.
So what's going to happen if you get rid of the penny or the dollar? Let's say, let's just get rid of the dollar where you're getting rid of the penny. So now people are going to round it up. They're not rounding down. They're going to round up. So if you go into, let's say, that McDonald's you said, and you wanted to order that dollar fries, well, guess what? You're paying $5 for it because we can't give you change. Well,
they're going to be charging us $5 for it anyways with the current rate of things.
Yeah. That too. Have you seen the price of lumber, people? Holy
That's what I'm saying. And the penny's going to be. We're going to not even have this discussion because you're not going to be able to even look at it.
Right. But it's craziness. All I can tell you is I think Germantown Runner may want to comment on that.
But I'm sure he does. Oh, he just commented about something in Pennsylvania. Oh, that's good. Anyways, Brian, I appreciate you.
You got it, brother. You have a. I'm gonna go listen back in. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye. And that's Brian Bowden. Go check out his shows. He's got a bunch. I don't even remember. I just go talk to Brian Bowden. He'll tell you where all his shows are. I know he's got at least, I don't know. He's always working on something and keeping his mind busy, which is good. So there's all that. And I don't know. I'm still conflicted about this penny thing, but I think we've got to do something. Maybe it's just something in my case. Maybe I just don't want to make change. Make it quicker. Maybe part of my problem is people can't count change anymore. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's my problem. Poor customer service. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so there's that. There's all of that. I think we got pushed out to a big degree. What else was I talking about? I feel like I just totally lost my train of thought after he hung up. Like it just sucked the life, right? The energy right out of it. So go ahead and call in. 234-738-2552. Standards, tools, rates apply to all those some people out there. A lot going on in the world today. And I do find it interesting because there is a domino effect that could happen, but will it happen? And I don't know about the election stuff, right? And there's a whole another set of dominoes out there with a whole another set of effects. And the whole thing, we didn't even get into this, Brian Bowden. This is where you should have been jumping in on. The Apple update, which isn't tracking people's cookies and marketability anymore. Right? So, okay. I can't remember the lady's name. Probably a good thing at this point. No offense to her. She probably won't be listening, so this will be okay. Even if she is, she'll understand what I'm saying here in a minute. I signed up for one of those Facebook's making changes, get on top of it, social media classes. For those folks out there who know me, know I do take probably a webinar like this once a month about something related so I could keep trying to keep up on everything, right? Because it does move faster than I do. No denying that, right? Because no matter how fast I move, podcasting, social media, websites, everything changes so fast. It's just intense. There's a reason there's people out there who are experts and do it well. And there's a reason I don't do it well. Okay. Said all that to say this. So her point was Facebook is changing their algorithms. Listen, listeners out there, because you're going to be involved in this. It's supposed to drop in this month of May. It's going to roll out to everybody. Germantown Runner, you can just tune out for a few minutes. This doesn't affect you because you don't have Facebook. But it does, because all social media is going to be working this way. Right? Their algorithms are built to put things in their news feeds that you want to see based off of what you've been visiting and what you engaged with, and it's becoming really smart, quote unquote, right? Of course, heaven forbid they understand that you like something, like the Malliard Report. If you haven't done so on Facebook, you probably should. Of course, it doesn't really matter because you're never going to see those posts because most of my listeners, my followers, whatever the hell they're called on Facebook, just don't see them, right? Just like most of my Twitter followers don't see my tweets. Just like most of my LinkedIn people don't see my posts because this, that, or the other, right? Okay. So, process this for a minute, right? So you have to generate content that people are interested in. What the hell do you think I'm trying to do? I'm not posting random shit trying to get likes. I'm trying to post stuff that my listeners would be interested in, like old shows. Yeah, right? That's what they signed up for in the first place. Of course, the problem is, right? Here's the problem that I've run into, and I know well, and I haven't figured out how to address this. Facebook, any social media site. Here's the problem. They don't want you leaving their site. Right? You click on a news story that isn't a Washington Post story, even in their news feed, something they've filtered for you, and this site is loading slow. Do you continue want to wait? Yeah, I want to read I want to read more than the headline. Why does it say that? Because they don't want you leaving their site. Even though you're not leaving their site, you're in their browser, in their app. Why do all my links, every time I post a show, get downplayed? Because I have a link out to Malliard.com. They don't want you leaving their site. Now, how do I combat that? Well, I try to do video on Facebook. Try to do this. I mean, I don't know what the world Twitter's doing with video right now. I haven't figured that one out yet. Not Periscope's gone or leaving or whatever the world's going on there. Not that YouTube's any better. Good grief, that's a train wreck for me. Because I just don't care about it. Right? Maybe if I had time to invest in the hashtags and the keywords and the playlists and all the custom thumbnails and I don't know. I just don't know about that. I just believe that the people here, the people are going to find what they want to find, and at the end of the day, they're going to listen. And that's a foolish belief. I know that you need to put the work in and do the right stuff, and it's 90% SEO anymore if you want to get heard and all of this. It's just hard. Right? Just hard. But that is what it is. Didn't mean to get derailed there into that argument with myself. Awful argument with myself. So, I don't know what else is going on. Germantown Runner, pop that Pennsylvania thing back up, because I seen it, but I didn't see it, and I don't feel like scrolling back up. So if you could do that for me, so I could talk about that for a second. I think that's kind of the national policy, is what I've been read this afternoon on Twitter. But I don't want to get that wrong, so. Oh, Cat Ward, people do love you here and love you on your show and love you in your Facebook group, which is a great thing that you've done. And I'm glad to see you tonight. I'm glad to see Bowden. I'm glad to see our observation. I was glad to see Captain Canada. And okay, just in, Germantown Runner just posted this for me again. Won't list the mask mandate until 70% of Pennsylvanians are vaccinated. I was talking a little bit. I tweeted about that this afternoon, as a matter of fact. And here's the deal. Think about this. Currently, 50% of Pennsylvanians are vaccinated. We've been doing this vaccination thing for months now, right? And halfway there, right? But we still have another 20% to go. And I don't honestly know how many more Pennsylvanians who want the vaccine are going to get the vaccine. Let's be honest for a second, right? How many more Pennsylvanians out there who haven't already got the shot want the shot? For whatever reason. There's any number of reasons out there you could put on it. Fear. There's a lot of fear out there about all this, that, and the other. And I get it. It's totally, right? So how many more are out there saying, yeah, we're going to cross the finish line with this. We're going to get over 70%. And then I seen CDC was saying that we might not hit herd immunity anyways. And it's all really conflicting. It's all really political right now, which is horrifying. Just horrifying. And I don't know how to handle it. Because that's the problem. That's the underlying problem to this. And I find this in a lot of things that I'm dealing with right now. There's no nuance anymore. And it's difficult. Because it's so polarizing one way or the other. No matter what the issue is. Right? We go back to the election stuff we were talking about with Bowden. It's so one way or the other. The shot, one way or the other. Everything, right? everything right now. I can't find something. A lot of things, like I said, in my personal life, one way or the other. Right? And you try to have honest discussions with people about things and try to understand and work through them. And some people out there are great. And I'll give them credit, right? And I do give them credit, especially when I'm having those conversations, that I appreciate the honest and the allowing me to explore and dig. And that's part of this, I guess maybe that's what the show brings out, right? Allowing me to dig into things and try to understand and put perspective on it. Especially things I don't understand. Things, I mean, obviously, like, right, you think about it. That's where this whole Genesis story started, with trying to understand things I didn't understand. And we're still there today, right? There's a lot of things out there that have opened my eyes and make me ask questions and make me wonder. And making me seek. And I'm sure the course of the next 10 years we kind of started here, we'll kind of wrap up. Well, we got 12 minutes left, so we're not wrapping anything up yet. As we start the downhill slide, don't forget you can call in and end my downhill slide or change my thoughts on anything. But as the next 10 years unfold, you'll see a lot of these questions that I still have, right? I still don't understand Area 51. I have a deeper appreciation for politics now, right? Having talked to Roger and some of these other people in politics and getting around politics with Lee Stranahan and the late great Jim Mars and, man, Jesse Ventura. Man, I sound like I'm dropping names at this point, but I'm not. I'm just saying to get in that mind and figure out what politics means to those people and why they're so passionate about it and why I feel this, I don't even know the word to put on it, right? I don't have a word to put on it. I would say it's bluntness, but it's not bluntness. There's obviously an interest in it, but it's not the interest that the majority have. And I find myself without a party, even though I've joked about starting my own party, because there isn't a party, right? And so that's kind of that raw exposure that I talk about with putting myself out there without putting myself out there for the show. So, I don't know. I just kind of feel that at one point, 10 years, you'd think that it was closer to a conclusion, right? Seems like that point. But on the other hand, I know it's far from over. And I started the show with this, and I'm going to probably, here we are again, talking about it. I don't know where the end is. Of course, I've long joked, and I'm standing by it. If I ever do the perfect show, you'll never hear from me again. And of course, anybody who knows me well, knows that perfect is something that I have never done. And so by that standard, it'll be, who knows? George Norrie told me that we'd be prying the microphone out of his cold dead hand. And I often wonder if that's my fate, right? Where we continue this for the next 30, 40 years. And I sit here and try to envision what that looks like, how the market's going to change, because having looked at it for the last 10 years and learned how the market has kind of got to the point where it has popped. And I didn't know if that point would come, but now it's here, and I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's a lot going on, right? A lot going on in my mind, a lot going on in the world, and that's why I'm happy to be here and share that with you. It never ceases to amaze me when I look at that, when I bring up the website and I just scroll. All the people who've given me their time to talk to me about whatever that is they talk about, right? And then I look at the chat room, the duck pond, week in and week out. Some names are there and some names aren't. And I tell them all the time, people always apologize for not coming to the live show or missing the live show, and I always tell them it's for me to be there and for you not to be. And I don't particularly care if you're here every week. Matter of fact, I don't want you here every week. Even Germantown Runner, who is a staple of that chat room. I know there are weeks that he's busy with work. There's weeks he's busy with political things like the State of the Union. There's weeks that he's out watching that little hockey puck bounce back and forth. And I want him to go to those games and enjoy life. Without doubt, right? There's no question in my mind. That's what I want for him. I want him to enjoy that moment. I want you all to enjoy those moments. Yeah, Kat, I know you hate missing the show too, but there are Tuesdays that you get caught up doing things with the family, and trust me, there's nothing I want more for you than to spend that time with your family. Because the show is recorded in perpetuity, and you can watch it whenever, and yes, you do miss some of this live atmosphere, which is the greatest part of this show for me. The community that I've built and built is the greatest part of this. The chance that I get to share the hour with whoever is the greatest opportunity that I'm given. And next week we'll be dialing up somebody and we'll be talking to them about whatever. And the week after that, we'll be talking to them about whatever. And it just keeps going. Now, for all you podcast listeners who are still hanging out and understand and are part of that, I get it. You can't be here. Some of you live in faraway places like Australia, where it's like 8 a.m, and South Africa and the UK, and right? You can't. But you still feel that community, you still feel that connection, you still get it. And I appreciate you too. After 10 years, I open those Blueberry statistics, and every day I click refresh and I see that number go up. It may only be going up whatever margin it's going up, but it goes up. And I think that many people, that 20, 50, 60, 100 people made the conscious effort and attention to listen to me that day. And yes, there are days that it's more than 100. There have been days where it's been thousands. Blows my mind, right? And there are days that I get frustrated by that number, right? Because that number should be going up all the time. And I get driven by that and try to make things better, even though I can't make it better. All I can do. Okay, Germantown Runner. Okay, Germantown Runner, if you're going to play the game, you got to play it the whole way through, though, so be ready, right? It's been a while since we played the game here about rapid fire things to end the show, so let's do it. All-time favorite radio personality. Okay, so this one here is the fun one, because those of you know, I watched Don Imus for years when he was on CNBC. Sorry, Germantown Runner. Or not CNBC, MSNBC, right? That kind of was the start of the radio, but that was kind of the start of radio on TV, right? So that was kind of it, and that was the news, and it was kind of edgy, and it was different than the Today Show. So there's that. And then soon after that, Mike and Mike started on ESPN News, and we kind of get into that, right? And then after years of watching Mike and Mike, you start to understand the game they're playing, and how they're setting up the next segment, and how this thing evolves. And then you start watching, and you start understanding, and then you start watching all this other ESPN stuff, all this other content. You start understanding, and you start going through it. So, all-time favorite radio personality. And you can't go without missing, I guess, actually, if I want to be perfectly honest, first radio personality I watched on TV was Rush Limbaugh. And he had those shows on in the middle of the night out of Johnstown. and staticky, but there it was. You got to watch him. So there's that. The tip of the cap to him. I mean, again, we give a lot of credit to Art Bell around here for being that paranormal host, but Rush is the political talk show host that drove that wagon too. Okay, so you guys fired a bunch of ones up there, so I think I see Brian Bowden saying Jim will say Three Doors Down. Of course Jim will say Three Doors Down. But they're not my favorite band. But okay, full disclosure, they're the last band I've seen live and in person, so that obviously carries some special weight. Their 2018 album, hold on, open the wrong app. I want to get the right title for you because Us in the Night, 2018 Three Doors Down album, I've been listening to pretty much non-stop on repeat for the last month. Just trying to deal with some things, and some of those songs really connect with what I've been dealing with. So, okay. But all-time favorite band, without question. Another band I've seen in person, and that answers Germantown Runner's question. The Eagles. That story arc, right? From that early music to what it became with Joe Walsh and how it evolved, how they broke up, how they got back together, how they... I don't know about the current version with Deacon and Vince Gill. I haven't seen that. I haven't listened to any of that. I just can't bring myself to. But I'm sure it's still good. I mean, I've liked Vince Gill as a singer. As a country singer, of course. Not as necessarily... Like I said, I haven't listened to him doing any of the Eagles songs because I just haven't been able to bring myself to that. Let's see. Favorite classic car. This is easy. As a NASCAR fan, of course, it is the Dodge Superbird. Come on now. That car is just one of a kind. Beep beep. Roadrunner, Superbird. That whole Dodge class of cars right in there. I mean, they're not the most sleek or sexy cars, but man, they just look right, and they are the part. So there's that. Gotta try to avoid some of these questions. Favorite fast food joint? Probably Wendy's. Favorite classic TV show? How old is classic TV show, Germantown? Because, yeah, I've got a bunch. Favorite NASCAR driver? Okay. Very good point by observation. Plymouth Superbird, Dodge Daytona. NASCAR on dirt. Yes, that was interesting. Favorite NASCAR driver, current or past? Boy, I've got a few, and that's not fair. But favorite driver was Ernie Irvan. Of course, he was injured in an accident, and so I bounced around after that for a while. Currently, I don't know if I have a current one. I obviously, now that Bob Levine isn't in the sport, I still pull for Christopher Bell and Matt DiBenedetto and Michael McDowell because they were his drivers, and I kind of feel this affinity towards them. I don't know. So the storylines of NASCAR just fascinate me to no end, and it's just fun. It's the only professional sport I still pay attention to. Sorry, guys. It just is.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Malliard Report. Stay tuned for details on saving money at the Duck Pond Shop. I hope you enjoyed this report. Please subscribe so that you can join us again. And if you appreciate the show, leave us some stars or a review. For more notes from this show or other great shows, check out Malliard.com. A reminder, the views and opinions of this show are those of the host and guest and do not represent any sponsors, affiliates, or any other partners of the Malliard Report. Now for your money-saving tip. Promo code Malliard at checkout of duckpondshop.com, where you can get your t-shirt, coffee mug, and other great products. That's promo code Malliard at checkout, duckpondshop.com. Until next week, stay safe and keep quacking.